The fight with Teddy Atlas, I think that's what it's called. Most people will know it's a pretty good YouTube channel starring Teddy Atlas, and I think he's got some staple wingman there with him as they discuss boxing. But Teddy Atlas recently tackled the topic of Naoya Inoue against Nonito Donaire, that fantastic final to the World Boxing Super Series tournament at bantamweight, very arguably fight of the year. And it was really good to hear someone like Atlas, who clearly watched and studied the fight, he had his notes ready, and just really give us a good breakdown, a good interpretation of what he saw. There's so many videos on YouTube that talk about this guy gives us an epic breakdown, this guy says something really insightful, and it's often either reporters or boxers alike just giving very run-of-the-mill opinions for 2 minutes. There's no epic breakdown, and in some cases they don't even really know the boxer that they're being asked about. They're just kind of repeating basic things that they've heard. So it was great to hear Atlas apply his very savvy boxing mind to one of the pound-for-pound best, the Japanese monster. He spoke about ultimately Inoue's ability to adapt in that fight. That's what we needed to see. Atlas is very big on that. There's a famous rant he does about Mike Tyson on the Joe Rogan Experience, and he kind of talks about why he feels Tyson ultimately isn't a great fighter, because every time he got in a fight he lost. It's a very black and white way of putting it, but that's what he feels, and that's why he really commended Inoue, especially learning of his injuries, because he felt that he showed those great abilities that you need to see. When things aren't going your way, when something bad happens, how do you adapt? How do you react? And of course, he reacted really well. He brought up some interesting points about the reason he was getting tagged with the right hand. It could have been the injury as well, just bothering him generally. But he spoke about Donaire being bigger, and he just spoke about the length of the arms. I know Donaire's a bit of a bigger man. I'm guessing he's got a longer reach, and Atlas just said it was purely down to the length of his arm and him not being able to judge it as well, that he was getting pinged with that straight right hand. Before they moved on to the next topic though, which I think was Wilder Ortiz, Atlas had one more thing to say. And he said that Inoue reminded him of someone, and that man, he said, is heavyweight legend Joe Louis. Particularly, he was talking about the balance. He said Joe Louis was never out of position. The Brown Bomber had these shuffling feet and would keep himself just always in position as he shuffled along the canvas, so he was always completely ready. Now, I've spoke before about Inoue's poise. Poise, balance, they kind of go together, but it's that ability of his, he's always just ready. There's no excessive movement, there's no frustration, shaking out the arms and having to reset and get back to your work and go, all right, that combo didn't work, let's try something else. He's just got this absolute laser-like precision about him. And I wouldn't have said Joe Louis, but he's the one who said it, because normally some people would go, well, that's too much. Joe Louis is a legend, don't compare him to him. But he certainly has some of that poise, that ability to just stand there, to soak up exactly what you're doing, no preliminary movement, no tell of what he's doing. Everything seems to serve a function. So, certainly high praise indeed. Of course, Inoue has quite a lot of work to do if he is going to be considered anywhere near as great as the Brown Bomber.